I'm with Simon Wesley, who's Professor of Psychological Medicine at the Institute of Psychiatry at King's College. Simon, tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you to psychiatry.
Well, I was doing medicine because I wanted to be a doctor, although I can't quite remember why that was now, but I did, and I was enjoying it. But as I was going through the medical curriculum and courses, I went first to Cambridge, and then I integrated an art degree, then I went on to Oxford. I was more and more interested in the kind of some of the wider issues. It wasn't just about putting up drips, doing cardiac arrests and learning, the practical side of medicine, although that was crucial. But I found myself more and more being drawn to some of the wider issues and things that we were talking about and the more complicated parts of medicine, and more into psychiatry that seemed to take a broader view of people than just seeing it as a collection of cells or a collection of organs. Psychiatry did see people like that, but also it was the main discipline that saw people actually as people as well. And I found that fascinating.
So what makes and who makes a really good psychiatrist?
Well, psychiatrists, I think there's for certain things that they're not. Okay, they're not normally quite as decisive action figures, superheroes like our surgeons like to think of themselves. We are a little bit more patient, a little bit more reflective. But I think most of all, we are more curious about people, how they are, how they think and what they do, what is the things that make them tick. And we are fundamentally those who see people as more than the sum of their parts.
Do you think psychiatry's got an image problem?
We do have an image problem. It would be ridiculous to say we don't. I mean, within the trade, I think it's the most exciting part of medicine, and it's on the cutting edge of modern neuroscience. But outside, we're either seen as Hannibal Lecter or Sigmund Freud, or a whole series of stereotypes. And the truth is also, just as our patients are stigmatized, so sometimes as psychiatrists. And I'm afraid that is a problem that we just have to live with.
But as a consultant, what are the developments and hot topics in your area that are keeping your interest personally?
I mean, there's just so much going on. I mean, psychiatry is a bit like neurology was 100 years ago. We're just starting to understand some of the neural basis of behaviour, thought and cognition, and how that's been translated into diseases such as schizophrenia and autism. Just last week there was a huge new finding, understanding of the brain and behaviour of autism, which is really fascinating. On the other hand, there's also issues about the impact of psychiatric disorder on physical health and vice versa that I find enthralling. And then we have the kind of broader ethical issues. Yesterday, we were involved in a huge debate on suicide and euthanasia. These are really hot topics being debated across society, and they're fundamentally about psychiatry and mental health.
It sounds a fascinating area, but do you have a problem actually getting enough people?
We're not the most popular speciality. We know that. A lot of people go into medicine either because they really want to do surgery and the highly active stuff, or, and let's be honest, they want to make a lot of money. We're not the biggest money earners in medicine, and we're not going to be. We do tend to attract the people who are more widely read, who are more thoughtful, I think also are more empathic and more able to get on with people and understand people. And I'd like to say that's every single medical student. The truth is it isn't. We tend to get the people who are more patient and can actually have a genuine curiosity in people in their lives.
So you do have a skill shortage. What makes psychiatry a particularly good career? What sort of opportunities are there that you could sell this career through?
I mean, first of all, there's the intellectual fascination of what we do. And, whatever else you do in psychiatry, you're not going to get bored because we deal with so many aspects of life. And then within psychiatry, psychiatry is a huge discipline. And there's an enormous difference between my colleagues here who are doing neuroimaging and neurosciences as psychiatrists, my colleagues who do forensic psychiatry and look at the problems of the law and behaviour and criminality, those who do child psychiatry, work with children, those who do family therapy, those who do psychotherapy, and talk to people and understand their emotions and development. And myself, I work in a general hospital. My background is in general medicine, and I work alongside our physicians and our accident and emergency specialists, look at the kind of psychiatric problems of physical illness. The whole of human life is within that word psychiatry. Just saying you're doing psychiatry, you could be doing a huge variety of things, all of which are very different.
Very flexible in its subject area. What about the flexibility in the training approach? Do you have?
I think we are a more mature discipline. We are flexible in our training approaches. First of all, we like people to have done other things. we're very keen that people have had wider experiences across medicine. We want them to have fundamentally got a grasp of their fundamental medical skills, absolutely, totally part of medicine, and therefore we want you to be a good doctor and confident in your medical skills. And then if you've done other things, maybe in neuroscience and basic sciences, or maybe working in very complicated, difficult situations as well, or maybe in acute medicine and A&E, we welcome all those opportunities. We're not in a hurry for you to come and join us. And the second thing is, yes, psychiatry, its training demands are probably less than those of some of the other craft specialities. We're very open to part-time working. People can have career breaks and come back in a way that's harder in some of the upfront specialities like obs and gynae or with surgery. So we can do that. I think we're probably closer to general practice in the way in which people can develop and structure their careers. But finally, though, at the end, we're going to want to have highly trained, highly competent consultant work body who are able to do the same missions of clinical work, teaching and research as all our colleagues in every other speciality. We're no different in the standards that we have.
Do you have any advice you'd offer someone who was just starting out and thinking of a career in psychiatry?
Well, I think the first thing is to see what it's like and, put your toe in the water and see what it's like. Not to be put off by some of the Hannibal Lecter stereotypes that are around, which are actually quite humorous, and real life isn't like that. And also take your time, okay? You've got time. This is a decision you don't have to make immediately. Get a broad range of experiences that are going to help you. Read widely, and that's, in my speciality, probably more than anyone else, to have a very good, broad cultural knowledge of how people are from history, from literature, and from many other aspects of culture is actually going to be more important to us than it probably is in any other bit of medicine. So don't just read art textbooks, read some great novels, read some bits of history, read other things as well. We like to see well-rounded people who can understand what is it that makes people tick.
Professor Wesley, thank you for your time.
Thank you.